Due to suggestive adult themes and dialogue, this podcast is intended for adults. In other words, the truth is ugly, so we get ugly right along with it. Everything we say is out of love for ourselves, our people, and our community. Sincerely, the Green Route Podcast.
And stop the damn dancing! Act like you got some goddamn sense, people!
Black people don't hope, we wish. We wish a motherfucker would be in our shit.
As far as I'm concerned, they could burn this bitch to the ground. And it still wouldn't be enough. And they are lucky that what black people are looking for is equality and not revenge.
Want to welcome y'all to the Green Route Podcast, episode number 31. I am GS.
And I am Marlissa. What's up, y'all? Welcome back.
We are happy to be here on the day before my birthday.
It is January 6th as well, though.
It is January 6th. Oh, it is the 2 year anniversary of the all potential white, the complete white takeover. And I mean that
treason is what
treason,
I mean.
Yes, yeah,
Treason.
yeah. I mean, in a very treasonous way. White on white crime hit an all-time high 2 years ago today.
But you know, I love that black people was like, that ain't none of our business.
That ain't none of my motherfucking business.
Yeah,
we ain't got shit to do with that. We staying out of it.
I'm good.
Cheers to black people staying out of,
bullshit.
Bullshit.
I like that. But happy day before your birthday. So I'll always remember now when your birthday is because America. You know what I mean? America the fucking ghetto.
Because
right?
damn America.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So we're going to get right into it. Where we going first, Mel?
Let's talk about the House of Representatives and the fuckery that is the GOP right now. But what's good is that you talked about this last week, like the split that's happening in that party. And I think, that's what we're seeing. So let's get into that.
All right.
So if you have not been paying attention to what's going on, we still don't have a Speaker of the House. And that is important.
After 8 votes.
No.
It's already
Today, May 13th.
Damn!
Today, May 13th. So
They really
as
not
of
fucking with
Friday,
him.
January 6, 2023, we have had 13 rounds of voting for Speaker of the House. And every time McCarthy fails to get a majority because about 20 Republicans who are all members of the Freedom Caucus. You guys have to remember this. So this is the very far right caucus within the House of Representatives who are like always Trumpers. They're the ones who kind of started that rhino term, all of that. So they continue to give their vote to others. It went from...
it started as 5. It was 5 at first,
yes,
right?
And they were able to flip a few more. So at one point, Donalds, black man, the black representative, I believe from Florida, he got about 20 votes. At one point, Matt Gaetz nominated Donald Trump for the Speaker of the House. Yeah, it was a lot. So real quick, and then I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. So one thing I've noticed that people don't really understand is how the vote has to work, and that really is a numbers game that they're playing at right now.
Yes.
So of the 435 seats in within the House of Representatives, you need a majority. Meaning over 50%. So to get that majority, you have 218 votes that you need that will get whoever you want in there.
Yes.
What the Republicans who are part of the Freedom Caucus are doing is saying, well, if I pull even just a slim majority, a slim number from that 218, I know that I can keep McCarthy out of that seat. The only way that you can change that majority from 218 is if anyone abstains their vote. So they will vote present instead of for a candidate. We've only seen that happen. So
they wouldn't even be incorporated to that 50%.
There you go. So the number goes from 435 to 434.
So the majority won't be 218 anymore. It'll be 217, 216.
Yep. So it's been a crazy numbers game. And honestly, I think math teachers have a great opportunity to teach some physics to their kids right now. Looking at this, because really the Republicans have the number, but because 20 of them are playing games with the numbers, they are keeping it gridlocked.
So a part of this as well, let me go to more of the history of this. This hasn't happened in 100 years. Since 1960
something now.
1923 was the last one.
Yeah.
Was the last time they dealt with a situation where they didn't have a House Speaker. And just as to why this is important. So this is important for two reasons. The House Speaker is third in line. That means if the president, something happened to him, then the vice president step up, something happened to her. The speaker becomes the president automatically. Also, this is important because the speaker determines who what issues actually come to the floor for them to vote on.
That's right. Yep.
So a Republican speaker for sure is not going to allow certain things to happen. A lot of people remember when Obama was in office and how Boehner
he couldn't get anything done.
Couldn't get shit
Yeah,
done.
that's right.
This was a part of why.
Yep.
Because a lot of the stuff that needed to get to the floor for a vote didn't make it there. So that speakership is very important. Too much power. It's too much power for sure, but
one of the concessions though that McCarthy gave up is that they will write into the rules, because every new Congress gets to write new rules, right? So if they say, hey, we can smoke weed on the floor, they can fucking smoke weed on the floor. So they get to write their own rules for that session of Congress. So one thing he gave up, he said, I will give to you that it only takes 5 members of the majority to remove me as speaker. So pretty much he's saying that if he gets in there as speaker, if 5 members of the Republican side of the House say we want McCarthy out, he'll go. He has given up so much to get this seat, and they still playing him, which is why I think he needs to sit down and stop embarrassing himself, me personally, because he's damn near giving like his firstborn to these people.
He's giving a lot.
Yeah.
The other part about this is this. It was a tweet that we posted within our story. Had he actually gone after the reps who were a part of the January 6th insurrection, the ones who held, if he actually had put them out, he wouldn't be dealing with this problem today.
That's true.
He wouldn't be.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
it's hard out here for a pimp.
I mean, shit, if you pimping the people. Also, too, his district in California is one of the worst.
Kern County.
We have, we posted about that. One of the worst. So if he can't represent them, who the fuck can he represent?
Yeah, a lot of migrant workers. So think Bakersfield, Fresno, all of that, like Kern County. So yeah, it's poor. It's a lot of, that's where a lot of our produce comes from. Them people, we know there are abuses out there. So yeah, he got a lot of shit he needs to clean up back home before he comes doing anything.
Sweep around your own porch.
Your own front door. Was that that was a gospel group? I don't know.
It's a saying I've heard.
Shout out to my grandma. Yeah.
Shout out to Granny.
All right.
Gabrielle Union.
I'm gonna let you start.
All right.
High value man.
Okay. First of all, we had a long conversation about defining it and co-opting the word and redefining. That's gonna be a conversation we might have a separate time. But thank you. I consider that somewhat of a compliment as long as you don't associate me with those kinds of people who have to bring value to themselves by shitting on women. That's not the high value man I want to be. Just
I mean
be clear.
it in the most pure way possible.
Because we're co-opting it. You're right. Yeah. Thank you. I am like, a high value man.
Genuinely mature, emotionally available. All of that.
High EQ. Thank you. I appreciate it. So with this being said, this has started up a Twitter conversation amongst frenzy for sure amongst folks who have been in relationships. And again, this is the shoe is on the other foot type situation. Basically, so many words. If you don't know, Gabrielle Union on a podcast in a long story short, to validate her cheating, she said that her mindset back then was, because I make more money, I kind of have that space to do that. And she even admitted that she learned this from her father, from her pops. So it kind of makes sense, because again, amongst men, that was an idea that we kind of pushed. It was one of those silently agreed upon ideas amongst us. Now, let me be clear, all men don't believe this. Yeah. And I most certainly don't believe this.
Amen.
I'm laughing sarcastically, but I don't. To be honest with you, I don't believe this. I don't believe it. But what's happening is, amongst men, or at least a lot of the men who have been following that whole thread, they were like, this supports what we've believed this whole time. So a lot of them are like, I hope this is contradictory. So we need y'all to be on her ass like y'all would be on us for making that same statement.
I think the problem is, for me, it's so much more. The rhetoric is so much more frequent on one side than the other. So for me, the reason I thought it was hilarious was because I saw a bunch of men like, she ain't shit, she's terrible. I was like, hold on, these are the rules, right? Like, for years, this is what you've been telling us was the rules, that the person who makes the most money can do what the fuck they want. They run the relationship.
That's true.
This woman is saying, I learned those rules from the same patriarchy that you learned the rules from.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, it's wrong. It's wrong for her, but not for you. Like, I'm confused because those were supposed to be the rules.
Well, I mean, this was an opportunity for men to be like, gotcha. This is an opportunity for us to be like that. So, and be like, and honestly, our response of she ain't shit is just more so like us just bouncing off what's hit us.
Mm-hmm.
Like telling us we ain't shit for having that same idea. It's like we couldn't really respond except by this is what we think is right, because there's really not a logical reason to be like, oh, I can cheat because I make more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, making more money can validate other things, like maybe you don't have as much time to give, which is something we talked about. Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily validate
treating
cheating.
your partner like shit.
Or you know, infidelity. It doesn't validate that. Having more money doesn't. Just like this, again, if we take it from a real corporatist capitalistic perspective, a person with more money doesn't have the right to harm poor people. Just because he has money, that does not automatically mean that he can take advantage or treat poor people who he or she is connected with.
Well, let's get into schematics real quick, because in a capitalistic society, it does mean that he can. Should he is a no. But I like literally as you were talking, I was thinking about Jeff Bezos. I was thinking about Elon Musk. Like, you know, because these people are insanely wealthy, they can continue to exploit people. Because the money talks. Like, we know who runs Washington, D.C. We know who sets the policies, are the people who can pay for the politicians that will go author those bills. So I do think, sadly, that a lot of that permeates into culture and into how we even deal with our day-to-day relationships with people. Like, the person with the most money in our heads, because of what we've been kind of programmed to believe about what value is, that person gets to shit on everybody as long as they're the most powerful person. In America, the almighty dollar makes you the almighty God. So
that's true. But we'd have to be fair, though, and tell the whole story, because she did say there was cheating on both sides.
So that was the other thing. It was kind of taken out of context. So she was saying there was infidelity, and there was a quote like, we never felt like, she said, we never felt like marriage should get in our way of dating, which I thought was hilarious. Because did she mean dating other people?
Now, what this does is open up the conversation that we've had about Will and Jada. A lot of people be like, oh, Will and Jada got a weird relationship because they be, you know, or they've allowed themselves to, allegedly allowed each other to do their thing on the outside. It's just one of them things where it's just like, is these rich niggas problems? These rich nigga problems?
Yeah, this is shit we ain't got to worry about.
He was an NFL player. She was an actress. And again, she said she was just making more money. And she was paying for things. So, ain't no telling what he was making. We don't know. But it just makes me think about that. About, like, you know, sometimes they just play by different rules.
I agree with that.
Different relationship rules that maybe we don't. Maybe it is capitalistic also in that way. Yeah. To where pay grade makes a difference.
I mean, when you that wealthy, marriage is honestly a lot of times about business and about merging two families, and so I do think that's rich people problem. Like broke people, we marry for love. You know what I mean? Like I love you, and I can't live without. Rich people, they marry because they want two very powerful families to merge and like have a monopoly on the letter W or something. I don't know. Like, they just marry for different reasons. So I do think they have different standards in their relationships that us broke people just don't even think about.
And just to be clear, y'all, we are rich beyond measure. In the name of God. No, I'm just playing.
I'm Gucci.
But no, and from that perspective, yes, there is a hierarchy. There is a financial hierarchy for sure. And truth be told, to your same point, yes, there are certain rules that they play by that we not privy to. That we don't. We're not marrying for the same things. Yes, we're not marrying for the same things.
I learned that at SMU. Like, when I saw the way them girls was like going after the right one. Like, oh, my dad said I should go out with this one. My mom said his family is different. Yes. They, like, when you have wealth, and it's also a difference between being rich and being wealthy, because I actually do think wealth creates even more of those scenarios where you have kind of these arrangements when kids are born so that we can somehow merge these families after 18 years.
and it goes back. I mean, we talked about this on the last podcast about compatibility versus chemistry, and for a lot of, for sure, rich white SMU kids, it's more about compatibility than it is chemistry. It doesn't matter who you love. You're not marrying someone.
You can go fuck with who you love on the side, but marriage.
Oh yeah, that's that part.
That's the thing.
That part.
Yeah, you can have that other person that you just love and you passionate about on the side.
You can have some side piece shit, but
as far as who you're going to be like
marry,
legally tied to, that's gonna have to be compatibility, and both families are going to have to agree on that.
That's why we gotta meet each other.
Yeah.
All college is one big ass Tinder for a lot of white folks. It's a big old Tinder. It's we going to meet one another. We try like you get your education for sure. Because the reason why I say that is because for a lot of those kids, if they fail out of college, they'll still be okay. And they parents know that. The company, but if you there while you there in that space, find you a husband.
Oh yeah. So we had two nicknames for SMU. It was Southern Millionaires University, and then it was Southern Mrs. University. So a lot of the girls were going there to get their Mrs. degree. We would say, yeah.
My last comment to that is there was actually a tweet that this sister put out, and she was just like, she was like. From her experience of working in corporate and just being cool with so many white corporate men, she was like, the vitriol and hate that they have for their wives is crazy.
Why you think they want y'all back in the office? Because they don't want to be at the house. They need something to manage.
I'm just saying that when you marry for those capitalistic, sexists, when you have that behind it, then you can't really expect too much good to come out of it. The reason why the motherfucking divorce rate is so high is because people are marrying according to things, in my opinion. I don't know anything. I'm not married or haven't been married, but I'm just assuming.
You sound like one of them podcasts.
I'm assuming. Now. Oh, I do? Okay. Well,
you got a girlfriend now. I ain't never had no girlfriend.
You're right. You're so right. You're so right. Let me dial it back just a tad bit.
We're going to get one of our married friends on here.
We're going to get one of our married friends, but from my little bit of perspective, I would say that if there is a reason as to why there's such a high divorce rate, it might be because of that, because people rely more on compatibility in areas that don't really lead to long-term love. So
yeah, it's our belief system now really that fucked us up.
Proud Boys. All right, y'all, so we have had another scuffle amongst the modern day white knights of society.
I like that.
They consider themselves the Proud Boys. We're talking about the Proud Boys, y'all. They consider themselves to be the on the ground foot soldiers for I'm gonna say for American values. Patriotism, American values.
I like to call them the Tiki Torch Bandits.
The Tiki Torch Bandits. Yeah. I feel like that's a separate group. Those are the ones who actually dress in like you know what?
I think some of them got recruited.
It's like a mix. I think some of them got recruited. Yeah, you're right.
They had the khakis on. They look like in uniform. That shit was crazy.
You're right. They definitely tiki torchers.
Somebody sent an email. Like, they was like, this is what you should wear. Get your tiki torches from Home Depot. Can you imagine the logistics around putting that shit together? It's ridiculous.
It's one of them things where it's just like, one, it shows white privilege because you have too much time on your hands to organize what y'all need to be dressing like. While y'all are made. You're getting shirts made. So specifically to this situation, there was a reading at a library. What was the exact name of it?
The Drag Story Hour.
Drag Story Hour. So what they would do is, I think they said monthly or every quarter or something, they would have Drag Story Hour, and one of the representatives. She was like, we do this because we want to, of course, encourage literacy, but also encourage children and everybody just in our community to be expressive of who you are as a person, regardless of who that person is. Be expressive of who you are. Well, I guess the Proud Boys took that message a different kind of way.
But for them, it's, we're exposing kids to the LGBTQ community. But I'm like, you fucking expose them to bullets. So I'm confused about...
That's a for sure. That is another way they are exposed. But again, they don't see bullets as bad. They don't see bullets as bad. So that makes sense to them to send to
someone in drag reading a book to your baby is worse than a gunman in that child's school. Like, Man, I'm not saying, I get it. Like, that's a weird apples and oranges type of thing, but on the extreme end of the spectrum, that's in essence what they're saying.
Well, no, because I get what you're saying. You're basically saying, like, y'all look at men and women in drag reading as more problematic and harmful to your children than the actual murder of your children. So in a sense to where when we see these violent mass murders in these schools, we would expect y'all would have that same energy, because if y'all, again, what y'all are saying is we're protecting the children. Why are y'all not protecting children in those spaces? Why are y'all not saying, like, hey, there have been one too many mass shootings, how can we support the lessening of that? But they're not present for that. They're not present for that.
I don't hear nothing about that. I don't hear nothing about incest and rape and these young girls getting pregnant, but they can't get an abortion. Like, I don't hear anything when it comes to things that genuinely harm our children in this country.
Poverty.
Hunger. Right? Illiteracy. Like, not having access to clean water and food and decent housing. All that shit is more harmful than my child. I don't have a child, but I say my nieces and nephews, right? Like, who I spend a lot of time with. I would much rather them learn to be accepting of people early on than them be exposed to any of the bullshit that the Proud Boys are more than willing to expose children to.
Agreed. I'll also say this. I wish that, again, they won't get this, but I think for our people who have been on the fence, because, you know, we, as black people, we do tend, a lot of us, for sure, us coming from where we come from, they tend to lean more on the anti-gay, homophobic, like, oh man, I ain't want my kids seeing that shit. We tend to lean towards that, and it's like, I think the overall point of that kind of exposure or that kind of education is necessary for our children, because 100%. They need to understand that even though you are different as a gay person, as a person who dresses in drag, as a person who doesn't identify as a specific pronoun, it's important for you to understand that people who think differently or think in this way or are this
look different,
exist, and that is okay. So that's what it is. It's like it's a I struggle with this word, desensitization.
That may have been it.
It's desensitizing.
Okay.
So the desensitizing needs to happen, in my opinion, because the fact that we have so many misconceptions about, for sure, black gay men and thinking that they're harmful to children and this and that and the third, like, we need to be exposed to different ideas, different beliefs, different sexual orientations amongst our communities, so we can start to cut all the misconceptions, because it's funny, because Republicans will talk about we're trying to protect the children and we're not exposing that, but a lot of them have had charges come up against them for pedophilia, for human trafficking, for all of that, and it's just like, clearly y'all are not trying to teach your children about these things because some of y'all motherfuckers participate.
There you go. So how many of y'all got caught up with a gay man in a hotel? Like, come on, just say the quiet part out loud.
Say the quiet part out loud.
Come on. All right. We didn't even talk about what the fuck the Proud Boys did.
Oh, okay, sorry. So what they did was they basically protested that reading, and then there were some counter protesters who counter protested, and of course they were throwing up the white power sign, the AOK sign, all of that. But yeah, so that's what happened. It was a real legitimate clash. One person went to jail, but it was just interesting that even in New York, I guess one of the most liberal cities,
it's supposed to be,
that
it was, and I think this happened in Queens, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So and then after all of that, so the NYPD gave them an escort to the train station and like helped them to evade fare and like open, like they just got a lot of preferential treatment from NYPD after that clash.
A lot of the footage, what it looked like, it was hitting like a lot of the footage looked like the police being on the defense with the counter protesters. I mean, no, with the people, well, the people who were counter protesting the Proud Boys. I felt like I seen more of them being aggressive and being like pushing them back.
Yeah.
But it might have been because there were more of them, and I mean, truth be told, their anger was a little more justified than the Proud Boys.
But that also just makes me remember that we know that these police departments have been infiltrated.
They have been infiltrated. They are Proud Boys in black and blue.
There we go.
All right. So we had a situation at an NFL football game a few days ago. The Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. On one play, Damar Hamlin, who was a defensive player, made a tackle. It was a part of a tackle on a Bengals player. And soon after the tackle, he got up. But then soon after he got up, he fell back down.
Right when he got up. He didn't even take a step. He
fell back down. It took them... How long did it take for them to revive him?
They had to revive him twice on the field, and I believe one time when he got to the hospital.
Because they said his heart stopped or something.
Right. So what had happened was he suffered cardiac arrest. There's actually a condition, and I can't remember the name of it right now. Obviously, I'm not a physician, but what it is, if you just look up what happens if you have an impact to the chest, right, like at the right moment of like the heart rhythm, your heart will stop. And that's exactly what happened to him. So because he hit that man where he hit him and literally at the right moment, there's a condition where your heart will stop. So they're saying that doctors actually kind of knew what it was as soon as they got to the field. Like they saw the hit and was like, oh, we know what this is. Cool. Now, I'm not sure how long it took them. I saw the ref call for them as soon as he saw him fall. So I'm sure, trainers were out there, coaches were out there pretty soon. Now, how quick a doctor was able to get out there or someone who knew CPR, I'm not really sure, but they did start giving him CPR while he was on the field. They were able to get a pulse, but he wasn't breathing on his own. So they ended up having to call the paramedics. His mother rode with him, which I can imagine, you just watched your baby like die on the field in essence.
I was going to say, like, to be honest with you, let's say that he actually did die on the field. That'd be thousands of people in person just watch the man die, and then millions of people remotely watched him die. If he would, they did watch him die. But if he would have actually not came back, that would have been some wild shit. Yeah.
So, the conversation was obviously about, what had happened, and that turned into how violent the sport can be, and from there, we actually talked about the fact that, after they had carted him off and taken him in the ambulance, the players were given a matter of minutes to ready themselves to continue the game.
Talk about this part.
So, coaches and players were like, hold on, we just watched our boy. And again, we've seen broken limbs. We've seen all kinds of injuries in football. Like, we've seen concussions. We have never seen someone literally die and have to be revived twice on the field. So this is a different type of thing, right? I'm thinking about these young men who put their bodies on the line for our entertainment every week, right? Like, okay. Do I believe that, football is a great sport? Absolutely. But do I believe it's worth what's put on the line? I've never believed that.
No.
So I'm looking like, okay, they've just experienced this really traumatic event that's even more personal to them because they know that could have been them. How many times have they hit someone just like that? And it could have happened right at the right moment. So the players and the coaches got together and was like, we're not going back on the field. They had to get their unions involved to even get the NFL to consider calling the game. And so the conversation became about, here are people who make millions of dollars every Sunday for their bosses, for the owners, for people who run these teams, who own these teams. And when they experience a traumatic event, they have to call their unions to get their bosses to do the right thing, the ethical thing. People like me, who used to work for corporations,
Talk about the exchange that you had online. Part of that.
Listen, the point is an epidemic. It's at an all-time high. Like, so that was literally the point I was making. If these players who are worth millions every week for their company, and I will say it's a company. A team is a company.
It's a business for sure.
Yeah. And I'm like, if these people who make millions every week have to get a union involved to say we cannot go back on this field given the emotional, the mental, the spiritual trauma that we just, and some physical, it could be physical for some of them, that we just experienced, like, why do we think an Amazon or a Twitter or like a Uber, who we just know shut down pay raises in New York. Like, why would we think that they would care anything about folks who don't make nearly as much money? And so my point was, take care of yourself. Take that PTO. Take that sick time, because these companies don't care.
And in response, a lot of people were coming at you about, well, they did give him really great treatment. My response to them was, the owner's a fucking billionaire. He should get the best. He should get the best treatment. That's one. And then people talking about, well, the protocol is not exactly how it happens. Protocol. This person has to talk to this person before this person talks to this person before we can call the game. This, that, and the third. And it's like, it sounds like you're defending the NFL, but in a way to make it seem like that they went through this. What it seemed like. That they went through this process in order to be thoughtful of the person, or it showed how intricate that the process is in terms of that. And I'm saying that one, even if you're striving to show us that it's that intricate, it doesn't matter, because we know just by us looking at the NFL and their practices with collective bargaining, their union reps, how they don't report on injuries fully, how the whole CTE thing, Aaron Hernandez,
covered up
all the stuff that they've tried to all the stuff that they have been on some cover up shit. Been on some, we're not going to give the full disclaimer, the full story, just to protect themselves. The NFL has always been about them. Their top priority is not the players. For sure. It's not the players.
Next man up is literally what they say. But that's why you have a depth chart, because they know that once my top one gets injured, I got my number 2 right behind him. I got my number 3. Like, you have these depth charts that are crazy, because they know that they have to be able to make anyone disposable.
Right. Just in case. So my last point to this, and I've said this before, sports, competitive events that are violent, that like this, do not last long. The NFL, again, just like fencing, just like He-Man wrestling back in Rome, just like jousting, just like all of these violent competitions in the past eventually faded away. That's the same thing that's going to happen to the NFL. It's going to happen.
We already have mothers saying my kid is not playing this sport.
Oh yeah,
I'm putting black mothers are saying I'm not putting my son in this sport. He gonna play soccer or lacrosse or something else. Get into gymnastics. These little boys flipping all over everything anyway.
That's why they're gonna play soccer. R.I.P. Pelé, Brazilian legend. Brazilian legend. So and my last thought and my last point, specifically for the people who were like missing the point number 1 but defending the NFL, I can promise you, had those players and coaches been willing to suit back up and go back on that field and play that game, the NFL would have been fine with it. That would have been cool.
They would not have said, hey, nah, y'all just went through something traumatic, I'm gonna let you go home for the day.
They wouldn't they wouldn't have they would have gladly allowed them to keep on playing.
Yes. And hence why I am pro union and pro collective bargaining, because had they not had that union and had the threat of other players sitting down for future games, was that a Saturday game?
I think it was.
It was a Saturday game. So I mean, say Sunday, 50% of players was like, I'm not playing. They knew there was more money to be lost if there was a boycott than just saying, okay, let's go on and call this game right now. So it was a money decision. I don't care how many times y'all think these people care about what's going on. They don't care. They don't give a goddamn.
They don't care.
Take your sick time.
Take it.
And fuck that job. Don't let that shit stress you out.
Absolutely.
All right. So a lot of y'all probably won't know this man's name, but William Singer. So he goes by Rick. So this is the guy who you probably heard about a few years ago. He was the mastermind behind the wealthy college admission scam or scheme. I don't want to say scam. It's definitely
scheme is a little more it's a little more orchestrated. It's a little more.
This shit was organized.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was organized. So he billed himself as a college admissions expert, and he approached very wealthy people. So this is kind of crazy to me because I feel like, especially for millennials and Gen Z, we're kind of like realizing that you don't have to go to college to be wealthy. But there is a faction of America, specifically wealthy America, that believes their children should go to the Ivies, all of that. So these are the kids who want to go to Harvard and Princeton and cool, but they may not
Be that bright.
right? Like they're not that good.
They're fucking stupid,
There's
y'all.
nothing special about these kids.
Sorry,
so
I'm sorry. A lot of y'all.
your kid is untalented.
Your kid is not. Your kid. You have. Let me just park. First of all, your child. You have sheltered them from
Yes.
everything. You have allowed them to quit. You know when they want to. You have given them the space.
Yep.
You have given them the space to not develop themselves. And again, I'm not talking to all of them, but I am actually. You have spoiled these kids, and you have tried to keep this hedge around them.
That's biblical.
A hedge around them, and it's not even a legit spiritual righteous hedge. It is a hedge in which you protect them from the truths of reality.
It's a hedge made of money.
It is a white hedge made of money.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. So yes,
these kids are not particularly special at all, but still you want them to go to the Harvards and the Princetons. And so what this man offered was access to those schools for parents whose children were not that special. They may not have been talented academically. They didn't have no type of like athletic ability. There was no there was nothing, right? Except for you being a child of a very wealthy person. So he literally came up with like package deals, like, hey, okay, your kid isn't scoring well on the SAT. I'll have somebody sit in for him and take the test. I'll make sure that the application looks good. I'll write the essays. I'll do the what is it called? The letters, the recommendation letter. And then it got so bad where he was like, oh, and if you pay me, you won't have to pay for them to go to college. So he had relationships with coaches at different universities, and it was like the most off the wall fucking sports. It was like
badminton,
the rowing team, the badminton team, the rowing team, like shit that you forget is a sport at a college, right? Shit that gets paid for by the basketball and the football team.
And no disrespect to our badminton, our rowers. No disrespect, because that's competitive. It's competitive.
But who's really looking at it?
But who's really, That
was where his brilliance came in. He went for the sports where he knew no one was going to really take a second look. And they offer so many scholarships for those sports every year. So he would cut deals with coaches and say, hey, I got 2 coming in, right? He'd fake all their applications, everything. The school would give him the scholarship for the kid. Kid would go to school for free, but really it was to him it was the price of admission going to him plus whatever bribes he had to give to like the coaches or the administrators at the school to be able to get these kids in. But I guess so let me round this out. He got 3.5 years. About 50 people were indicted, charged. A couple were sent to prison, including
Family Matters.
Yes,
we forgot her name, but Becky. I don't know if it was Becky.
I'm not sure.
But Becky was. I'm not even trying to be. Becky was actually a character on Full House.
Oh yeah, I'm like Family Matters is black.
Bad.
Hold on.
My bad.
Okay.
They wasn't helping us get into college. It was the other show.
Felicity.
Felicity Huffman. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. We just know that they were rich and full of shit.
And their kids were untalented.
And their kids were not talented.
So I mean, he would take their money and pay himself, and then pay like the test takers, the people who wrote the essays, all of that, and then he would bribe the college like coaches or the admission staff. And so he just got 3.5 years, but I mean, we've seen a sentence be, I think, 12 days for one person, 2 months for another. So I mean, all of this is federal prison too, by the way. So my guys are over there fucking playing tennis and with Nike slides on.
He might be. Somebody might have looked out for him. Somebody, because again, he's been doing this for years. So his reach, his connections are deeper than what we even realize.
3.5, probably in a very nice prison.
There's no telling which judges or senators or people who are in position who he's helped. Yeah. Because again, his name has been passed around. Yep. My thing with all this, what it reminds me of, that scene from Don't Be a Menace, when Loke Dog and Sean was in the store, and they were there, and they was like, "Hurry up and buy!" And then the white dude the whole time was stealing shit the whole time. Yes. And he just easily walked out of there. God. That analogy. What I'm saying is, to relate to what we're talking about, the outrage for what really is happening, the cheating that's really happening, is largely being ignored. If there has been so much outrage for black students being at these schools or race-based admissions, there's been so much support, so much outrage. The idea of affirmative action being cut is exciting for them within the college situation. So it's like y'all are attacking a population that only represents literally 0.05%.
That's it.
Meanwhile, we got people like him
buying his way, and taking a seat from another,
seats from other kids. Again, he's doing it the illegal way, but what about the other folks who are doing it quote unquote legally, but their kids still aren't
the legacies, the donors,
the sorority kids, the fraternity kids, the past president's kids.
Let me at SMU, they promised that I was there because of affirmative act. They couldn't fathom that I may have scored just as well on the GMAT as they had. They couldn't fathom that my work experience, they're teaching their kids this about us, that if someone who looks like me is in their space, they didn't really earn their place here.
That's why it relates to that analogy of don't be a menace, because they're literally looking at you across the table saying that while their sorority sister, their sorority brother is right next to them, and that motherfucker got in off some bullshit.
Because daddy donated his name to the building next door.
And they look at them like, dude, Brett's just stupid. Brett's dumb.
We know.
We know he's dumb.
We know.
We know that. But you don't deserve to be here. It had to have been your race. It had to be. But Camille, we know she's a little airheaded. We know she's a little dingy. But you, though.
Shout out to Elizabeth Wiley, who is the president of Forest Theater, bringing that bitch back. Love you. She was my classmate at SMU. And Edwin Jackson, who was over there fucking running Amazon at this point. Because, what can y'all say? Y'all thought we was there off of affirmative action and we fucking running circles around you.
Look, I always tell people this. The idea that, this is my last point to it. The idea, let me also say this too. One of the biggest schools that he got people into was UT, my school.
That's right.
What happened? My undergrad degree came from the same school where he was getting a lot of kids into. Also, that is also the home where Amy, who brought the it was
a Supreme Court case.
Trying to get race-based admissions taken out.
Only to find out that she didn't even meet the qualifications to get in. You didn't get the test scores.
And she wasn't rich enough to hire whatever this motherfucking name is.
Rick Singer. Yeah.
She wasn't even rich enough to hire him, so.
Amy, how you gonna go to the Supreme Court only for us to find out your transcripts ain't shit?
And you not. She ended up going to LSU, y'all, so I don't know what to say about LSU. Anywho, that was just a little, just a little that was PWI shade. Sorry.
Damn, I'm gonna stay out of that. All right, last topic. So Elon Musk is back in the news, begging for money this time.
Yes.
So long story short, Twitter had banned political ads a few years ago under their old CEO, but Musk took over, and he's been struggling with revenue, as we know. His whole goal is to make the company profitable. So he got the $8 a month blue check mark thing that he's got going on.
All you gotta do is pay.
All you gotta do is pay to get a blue check mark now. So yeah, he just decided that he's going to allow political ads back on the platform, and this is going to be interesting given we're right up on a presidential election.
So a part of this being this is to me, this is the ignorance of Elon Musk. This is him as a leader showing that he's not the brightest bulb in the lamp room.
I like that.
There have been it might have been Burma, it might have been Myanmar, it was a East Asian country in which they damn near caused a genocide amongst their community, and a lot of it was fueled by Facebook political propaganda.
I didn't know about this.
We might talk about that in the next episode.
Okay.
My overall point is this: when you Twitter took that down for that reason. Twitter stopped allowing political ads across their platform. For a part of it had to do with reasonings related to stuff like that. It's the fact that if you have enough money, you can push a specific ideology and agenda in the guise of political activity.
Yeah.
Because we all know that if we look at right-wing political activity, a lot of that shit is racist. A lot of that shit is violent. A lot of that shit is provocative for their white racist constituents to do some wild shit. So it makes sense as to why Twitter would be at first would be like, we don't need that on our platform. It makes absolute sense because for some people they are seriously motivated by that. But now, for the sake of money,
well, and it was a publicly traded company then too. Now it's private.
Now it's private.
Elon owns all of it. It can do what he wants to.
So because he now owns it now and he's thinking about money, he's not thinking about how political propaganda can rise up here in America. And we already know that we've dealt with like Russian bots and all kinds of outside influences on that. So it's like you're opening up another can of worms that could potentially end up being violent, harmful to minority groups in America.
Yeah. And I think you're 100% right. I don't think that crosses his mind at all. I think for him, it's how can I make this company profitable? Because he paid a pretty penny for it, $44 billion. He was trying to discount that bitch for a long time. So yeah,
he was trying to get the lower rate.
He was spreading lies about like what did he say, like 20% of all the accounts are bots or something. And the shareholders was gonna sue his ass because the value of their stock was going down as he continued to tell that story. But yeah, for him it's not about anything moral or ethical. Like, for him, it is about how can I make money off of this company, like I make money off of all the rest of my companies to fuel my next trip to space, really. Like that. I mean, the man wants to go colonize Mars, so he needs a lot of money to do that.
He does. And, again, that's how we know where his head is. And it was actually Myanmar, so I found it. But this is the specific story about it. And Myanmar
send this to myself.
allowed Myanmar's military allowed themselves to be on Facebook to send incendiary comments about specific populations within their country, political incendiary comments about those groups, and it kind of opened the door for them to be that violent towards those groups and kill a bunch of folks. The point is, in this situation here in the United States, we have to be now even more careful about all of it. Yeah. Because they are taking things to an extreme now. They're talking about rhino hunting with motherfucking shotguns. And when their people show up to the House Speaker's house
with hammers,
and assault like the husbands, and which leads to, because I don't care what you say, Nancy Pelosi stepped down because she's like, I don't need this shit.
At this point, if you coming in my house, fucking with my family, we done.
Y'all are making statements about me and telling folks that we need to be stopped by any means necessary.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah,
that's a wrap. I literally had the conversation with my sister when I was home for Thanksgiving, because I'm sure you get it too. Like, we're like, y'all, you should run for office. I would need fucking security if I like the type. Because I already know I'm gonna be in there like tearing shit up, knocking shit over. Yeah. And I watch what happened to Nancy Pelosi. I watch what happened to Jasmine Crockett, one of our own here from Dallas. Like, she had to flee the state at one point. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I'm good. Yeah. Like, I'd rather use my voice to be, valuable, because this shit is getting real out here. Yeah. Like, the division is getting so bad, and people are on. You really, if you're not on either end of the spectrum at this point, you can't really sit in the middle. It's one of those things to where the division has been bad. It's just now it's becoming politically violent. Like, it's just becoming one of those situations where it's just like they're now saying that, hey, if you want to go back to the 1960s when we were harassing people for trying to vote, when we were harassing people for fighting for what they believed in, which is just the right to live, the freedom of expression, all of that. Have at it. You have the right to use scare tactics. You have the right to shoot them. Kyle Rittenhouse. Yep, that's it. Drop the mic right there. Yeah. Or never mind. That was it. Because Trump was talking about giving them hell on January 6th and fight like hell and all that. Dog whistles. Yeah, y'all are giving permission to for this behavior. Yeah. So, all right, checking in. Mel, how you feeling? I'm good. You good? been on. Okay, this week I've been in like this weird energy. I don't know. I heard it was a Mercury retrograde retrograde.
I saw a post about it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I had like this weird energy all week. Just like I don't know,
uneasy, that unsettled. I know what you mean. Kind of like
just like kind of touchy. Like everything was kind of annoying to me, and I'm usually a pretty easygoing person, so I knew it was something going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm riding it out. Yeah, like good thing, sticking to boundaries. So you know, GS and I had a conversation about a situation that had gone down a few months ago, and so yeah, that situation tried to pop back up, and it was just really nice to be able to say like, nah, like I'm sticking to my boundaries. You know what I mean? I don't need to give any excess energy or mental capacity or emotional capacity away to something that is not helping me to get where I want to go. And it was one of those things that really has not been helpful for like my growth. So yeah, that was nice. Yeah,
that's good.
What's up with you?
I'm pretty good. I, as some of you all know, that I have been, of course, like struggling with sleep and trying to shake back from having a big move in the last few weeks. But this week has been the first week that I'm feeling like, okay, I'm getting my stride back in the sense to where like I was able to clean up. You know, consistently do my morning routine, pray, meditate, you know, light workout. Light workout.
Okay.
So it's just been feeling like, you know, been pretty good. So I think the thing I need to be careful of is that when things start to be like really good, like when things start flowing real good, that's when I start testing them boundaries, and that's when I start staying out later and all of that. So I went out last night, but I think it's just that season. But I went out last night for my friend Lauren's birthday. So happy birthday, Lauren. We celebrated her birthday yesterday.
And it was J5.
Shout out to the new. Shout out to the new. Shout out to Kappas. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good time. I got a chance to kick it, hang out, and yeah, it was cool. But I did stay out late as hell. Okay. So I was out late. So so tonight we will shake back better. We're not going to sleep that late. You know what I'm saying? But I'm feeling the stride. I have a very clear focus, and my clear focus is how can I get better rest at night, and it feels good to be working towards it.
Yeah, so, I like that.
Yeah.
It'll get there.
For sure.
It'll get there. All right, cool. Benediction?
All right, y'all. In closing, when a leader is questioned by his own constituents, when he has a vote of no confidence, that is a clear sign that is not the way to go. Okay. Sometimes there are things inside of us that lead us a certain kind of direction, but on the inside of us, we can't support that. So, with that being said, once we realize that the background of whatever that thing is, once we realize that that's not right, then we have to move accordingly. We can't treat ourselves, we can't treat the people close to us according to that wrong idea. Okay. So we might think that, you know what, because I have all my things together, that I can treat I can treat certain things, but just understand it's what's on the inside that should really mean something to you. Not what's on the outside, because again, the outside would have you validating fuck ass behavior. Yeah, because the outside will be okay with you being hurt. The outside will be okay with you going through some shit and then not blinking if they have to replace you. So instead of leaning on the outside for your understanding, lean on the inside. Lean on the inside. The Bible says lean not on your own understanding, but on God. In my opinion, God is on the inside. If anything,
really got to go read a Bible again.
God
it's been a while.
Because
I used to know this scripture.
You used to know. You know, it's okay, coaching, baby.
Yeah, I don't
know what I'm saying.
Bible wars.
So, in summing it up, the outside will tell you that you're not valuable, but the outside will also tell you that you are really valuable. When on the inside, you're not.
You be trash.
The outside will tell you that you belong in this college, that you belong in this situation. but on the inside, you have not done the real work.
And on the inside, your mama paid for you to be here, baby.
Paid for it. So it's not about what's on the outside. It's not about what's on the outside. It's about what's on the inside. Let's continue to I'm trying to sum all of it up, but even though people on the outside will try to nestle what's on the inside of you, but still maintain that part, keep it going, because we have entities that are okay with allowing outside entities to influence how you should feel on the inside.
That's real.
But those outside influence only have a political agenda, and that's not always good for you.
We need to do just
Thank you.
a breakdown of that benediction.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
Because we had 6 parts. I tried to sum it all
I was
up.
following
But you
it. I
get,
was like,
you get what I'm saying.
There's
you
a
get
turn
what
here.
I'm saying. I just, you gotta try to make the weave and the connect.
I got you. I got you.
So y'all remember. So the overall thing is, focus what's on the inside. Develop what's on the inside. And if what's on the inside isn't fully developed, then do that work.
And let me what's on the inside shows up on the outside.
It will.
It
absolutely will.
Like my friend told me that, like, you know, that what's happening on the outside is literally just an outward expression of what's going on in the inside. Like,
that's facts.
And I 100% believe that, because I remember having like some ailments I couldn't get rid of, and come to find out it was fucking stress and depression, and you know what I mean. So yeah, like fix that shit up in the heart first. Like fix that soul first.
Fix that, because there are plenty of outside influences that want to tell you shit that ain't right. So
that's right. And read some books, God damn it.
Read some shit.
Find out who you are.
Read some shit. Oh, what's your before we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Your music, song, artist.
Let me see what I've been listening to this week. I have been listening to a lot of like Afro beats.
Okay.
Just been putting like a station on, and
Afrobeats has a lot of positive, like just energy that comes up, positive upbeat energy. So
that's really real. So like I remember as a kid, I remember like feeling a certain way when I would listen to certain types of music, and so as an adult I realize now that like that's really a vibration that you're taking on. So there are times where, you know, I just listen to like lo-fi or you know, jazzy stuff, because I just feel like I probably shouldn't be taking in a bunch of songs about bitches and hoes and drugs, and you know what I mean. Like sometimes that's what I like. If I'm in the gym and I'm lifting heavy, sure, I need that shit. But most of the time in my house, I try to set more of a calmer tone. So like I feel like Afro beats gives me the upbeat, like boom bop, but like it doesn't make me feel heavy or like weighed down or anything. Yeah, so that's what I've been on. What about you?
I've actually been listening to a lot of this, like the Erykah Badu radio on Spotify. Yep. That's the shit I've been on. Yep. It's been very cleansing, very good.
Who on there? Like
it's like Erykah, Cleo Soul, D'Angelo, like it's
Neo Soul stuff.
Yeah. So it's real
singing
chill,
about love.
You know what I'm saying? You know, good energy. You know, all of that. So
I like that. Good shit. We're gonna have to like drop some mixtapes or something, like one of the GS mixes or something.
We have to do that. We might have to do that for sure.
Okay. B Nation told us we should. I think
we might have to do that.
We might have to take her advice.
We might have to do that.
All right. Well, that's all we got.
All right, y'all. So remember to love. Oh no. Watch.
Pray.
And be vigilant. I forgot the last part.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen, y'all. Amen. All right, y'all.
Later.
Peace.
Sunshine, sunshine, tell me where you are.